Oh, let's do it like this. Well, hi, friends. Ooh, I was kind of out of breath because I was trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing with my life. No, I'm just kidding. How are you guys? Happy Monday. It doesn't really feel like Monday to me, but it's okay. First of all, can you hear me okay? And how are you? I am. I want you to know Brian's coming. He's getting kids situated. I am so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight because um, seriously, I feel like it's life changing. Well, I got a cup and I didn't put anything in it. It's really great. Hi, Kaylee, I miss you. Kaylee and Brandon were here this weekend for a dream retreat, and I'm seriously I'm having withdrawals. It's really bizarre. I don't know. Usually I'm like really tired. I'm listening to Brian, sorry. Oh, hey, from Idaho. I know. You're so fancy. So tonight we are going to talk about, what Brian and I have been learning about rest, and particularly about Sabbath rest. If that word freaks you out, or you think, okay, they're going to go all religious on us, we're not. I swear. It's just this incredible concept that I never really grasped a hold of until really recently, and I seriously, if I were to say why things are so different this year for me, it's because we've started intentionally resting. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. Okay, first of all, Chrissy and April, the fact that your children are talking back and forth to each other is my favorite thing in the whole entire world. So precious. Ugh. Are you guys getting an echo? Let me know. Let me know if you're getting an echo. And hi, Carol. Is anybody else getting an echo? I think Chrissy said hers might be echoing, but yeah. Hold on, I'm coming right back.
What's up, guys?
So I just want you to know, Damina's kids are telling April's Timir hi back and forth in comments.
I'm telling who?
Timir, April.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
I'm like, it's my favorite thing ever.
That's so cool.
Favorite thing. Okay. So yeah, Brian, you are sitting in Kaylee's chair. Why is it echoing?
I'm sitting in Kaylee's chair.
Yeah, she said you're sitting in her chair.
Where did you see that? I don't mean. Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Hold on, I said hi. Okay, why is it echoing?
So cool. Are we echoing, guys?
Yeah, they just said that.
That means.
I don't know why.
You're not recording the other one. See it.
Let me see.
No?
No.
Okay, I got it. Okay, got it.
I don't
No,
see it. That's the worst.
I can see it.
It sounds like we're talking through a metal tunnel. Okay, hold on. Let me see what's up with that.
Get something more here.
Oh. I've never moved that before.
Is that better, guys? Someone said it sounds fine to me. Yeah, you guys let us know. Comment. Good. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah, comment if it's good or not. Oh, man, it's jumping.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. We're going to go. We'll see what happens. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about All right. Well, first of all, welcome to the dreaming table. You're sitting on our dining room table because we decided the end of last year that the things that happen at this table are my favorite things, and we wanted to share those with you. So whether it's business or marriage or family life or all the things we're learning about,
All the things.
I would share them with you.
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier, if you just got on, that this topic tonight that we're going to talk about, learning how to rest, I think has been transformational for us this year. Oh, I see it.
You see it?
You got it.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I got something.
Still see it.
You can see it? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
but-
your eye. Come here.
You see it? You got
Where's your eyelash?
it was an eyelash.
Remember?
I thought I had a hair right in front of my eye, and
What's
I
your
just couldn't. It was my eyelash. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We
Anyway.
take care of each other.
So anyways, I think rest has been so transformational for us. And what's really great is one of my friends who actually has been to a dream retreat, Amber, is the one that told me about it beginning of the year. She said, I think that you need to listen to this podcast on Sabbath and that it probably needs to be something that happens in your life. And I was like, okay. So I listened to that podcast and made Brian listen to it, and everything else from then on was different. You know,
What are you talking about?
everything.
I'm not having 4 different conversations with people
You are.
through
And
text
it's
and or
making
messenger right
crazy
now.
right now. Making me nuts.
Just act like you're not here.
So,
When you look at us and then tell
Okay.
us, just act like I'm not here.
so first
have
of
to
all,
acknowledge it.
I want to know how many of you practice Sabbath. I was actually, hi Whitney. I was actually shocked to see how many people actually practice Sabbath.
Shocked because no one does, or shocked because a lot more did than you
More
thought?
did than I thought.
Okay.
Like when we first started talking about it on social media, I think more people than I thought practice Sabbath, and I was a little bit surprised by that. And what I mean by practicing Sabbath is just, I mean practicing rest. So the Bible says that God made the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and on the 7th day He rested and said all was good. And what are you doing?
I thought she was saying the video was working. You just focus. Let me do my thing over
You
here.
can't. It
You're not
makes
the
me
ADD
crazy.
one. I am. Focus. Stay
I am
focused.
focused, but
You've
you
been
gotta
all over the
stop.
place tonight.
I know.
Stay focused.
Because you're not paying.
If someone that I know is watching the video sends us a text, I'm going to check it to make sure it's not something wrong with the video. You need to stay focused. Lock it up.
Lock it.
Lock it up.
Okay, you have to stay focused too. Okay.
No promises. ADD.
Oh man, it's making me batty. Look, he's not even.
No, I'm reading comments.
I know.
Focus. Focus.
You might get punched tonight. Anyways, so Sabbath is, and it's actually an Old Testament law.
Yeah.
Practice the Sabbath. In the world that we live in today, where Jesus died on the cross for our sins and rose on the 3rd day and did all of that before we knew we needed it and before we deserved it, and we still don't deserve it,
Yeah,
but
we never deserved
we
it.
never deserved it. But anyways, because of all that, it's no longer a law. Because we live in a grace-filled world, is what we believe.
Mhm.
But I think the principles of so many of the things found in the Old Testament reign true to and can be super beneficial to us now, even though we don't have to. But what if we did? And so one of the things that we have found is, first of all, we listen to this podcast, and it's an Annie Downs podcast. I've shared it a bunch, but if you haven't heard it yet, I will happily share it with you. It'll probably make more sense than me trying to tell you.
Really good.
It's so good. But it's all about, what does it truly mean to Sabbath, and why do we need the Sabbath, and how does it change who we are? How does it change our work? How does it change our lives? And I liked the concept of a full day of rest, but I did not know if that was something that I could actually make happen. But we decided to commit to it.
Yep.
We both listened to the podcast and we thought, we're going to try this.
Yep.
We're going to rest for 24 hours. And here's something else. You might be watching this thinking, okay, that sounds great, but there's no way. Like, I can't rest for 24 hours. We can't, truly rest for 24 hours. It can't be Sunday, whatever. It doesn't really matter when it is, and it doesn't really matter how long it is. I think it more matters that you have a specific amount of time where the only rule is that you don't work, and the guidelines are just you do whatever is worship or rest. Worship or rest, whatever feels like worship or rest to you, and no work. So, what was your first reaction to us trying it?
Let me preface that. So, I listen to the podcast. I grew up in church, grew up around the thought of Sunday as God's day, church day, family day. Oh, goodness. However, in the world we live in, especially in the world I lived in for a long time, where Sunday was one of my only days off when I was in the car business, Sunday to me is also a day to get stuff done around the house. So I just always thought, as long as you're not at work or working at work, you're still resting, even if you're working around your house or even if you're working outside or whatever. And so listening to that podcast really opened my eyes to the understanding that, no, that's work also. When you are physically laboring or doing something that you wouldn't choose to do for rest, then that's not really resting. And then in the podcast where they talk about, there's a few different, I guess, religions where they absolutely Sabbath on Sunday. There's a few different ones, but they referenced, I think, 2 or 3 in particularly.
Seventh-day Adventists.
Seventh-day Adventists, Orthodox Jews, right?
Yeah.
And maybe there was another one. But they took this long-term study over these people that live in our communities. Why do I always yawn? Is it the light or something? I don't know.
It's you talking. No, it's...
What?
That was good.
So,
I couldn't even play that. I did the whole thing.
Anyway, so they did this study, this really long-term study. And this is people that shop where you shop. Their kids go to your school. They live where you live. I mean, it's not people that are living, in some other culture and some other world. And in this study, these people are Sabbathing 1 day a week, which is 1/7 of their entire lives, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool about that, the average person lives for between 70 and 80 years. So they're Sabbathing essentially for 10 years of their life. And in this study, one thing that they found, that people that regularly Sabbath, whether it be on Sundays or another day of the week, but regularly take a day of rest, live for, 11 years longer on average.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to that, and I'm a numbers person, I'm an analytics person, and I love case studies and things like that. So they were totally speaking my language, but I paused it and was just in awe a minute. And I was like, I have to listen to that again. That can't be right. So these groups of people that are all different ethnicities, all different cultures, they live in all different places. Wow. I did this last week too. I don't know.
It does have to do with like talking in like the oxygen in your lungs.
Maybe.
You probably don't breathe when you talk that well.
Maybe. I'll think about that.
Okay.
But it was just people from all these different cultures. No, I'm kidding. That live 11 years longer. So they're essentially getting all their time back. Plus interest is how they referred to it in the podcast. And I just thought that it blew my mind. That was amazing. So I thought, well, heck, you're truly not only not losing the time because you're getting it back, but after that, they talk about all the people and how much more productive.
Okay, so first of all, it was really hard for me. I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, if you're an Enneagram person, which means I'm a perfectionist, which means that I'm always trying to do something better, which means I make a million to-do lists, and I have a hard time turning my brain off. So my friend Amber said to me, I think you need to listen to this podcast, because she knew it was something I was struggling with. Don't do that noise. No, that noise you just made that you didn't even know you did.
Oh, that's the one that, I won't do that anymore. Sorry.
Anyways, forgot what I was saying.
She made you listen to this podcast.
She
Because
made
she
me
knew you
listen. Yeah. And it was really because like the biggest need was me having a hard time turning my brain off. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try this. Like, it sounds great. The first one was really hard for me. I was up until
2 a.m.
2 a.m. the night before, finishing laundry, getting my house clean because I thought I'm just going to hang around tomorrow and not like work. I want my house to be clean. Like, I want to enjoy it. I want to be able to sit. And so I was up till 2 a.m. It was so worth it, though. Like, so worth it. And what's cool is now we've done this since we got back from Mexico, right? Or before?
No, since we got back.
Since we got back.
That was the week we decided we were going to do it.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of January. So we've been doing it for 3 months.
Almost 3 months.
Almost 3 months. And we haven't missed except for yesterday.
We missed yesterday.
But because we did a dream retreat yesterday. And so normally we have done another dream retreat in the middle of that, but we Sabbathed on Monday.
The day after.
The day after. Yeah. And this time we just didn't. But I will say it has gotten easier. And what it has done is it has pushed my life into a different rhythm where 6 days really are better than 7. And I have the flexibility and the freedom to really sit and be. Like, I get to be mom. I feel like we're like a great married couple on Sundays.
No, yeah.
You know, like when we're just like resting, it's just, there's no expectation. And our kids are doing it too. Like we don't do electronics on Sunday, which at first they were like, wait, what? And now they really love it. Mm-hmm. If you ask them what their favorite day is, they would tell you Sunday. We go on hikes a lot in our backyard.
Yeah, because you're forced to, I mean, what do we do when we have downtime? Pull our phones out, right? Or turn the TV on. But we can't do that. You're like, oh, okay, well, we live on 4 acres. Like, let's go outside. Let's pick up a basketball. Let's grab the soccer nets and a soccer ball, or let's go on a hike.
Yeah, and we do those things on the weekdays, but just not as.
But those are all things I think we would all prefer to do anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, gun held to our head, I would much rather go on a hike than, scan around on Facebook. But it takes effort to go on a hike. It takes 0 effort to grab your phone. And so we default to the lazy. And all of a sudden, the day goes by and the week goes by, and we haven't gone outside and gone on a hike.
I've taken a lot of middle of the day baths just because I could.
I've taken some middle of the day naps.
Yep. We played a lot of board games with our kids.
Yeah.
We've cooked a lot. So we both love to cook. I know people who don't cook on Sabbath because they don't like to cook, because it feels like work to them. It doesn't feel like work to us. We both really love to cook. It feels like worship to me. I love it.
We'll post a link to the podcast.
We will.
In this video after we are done.
Yeah. What's something else? I will not do laundry. I will do dishes, though. Oddly enough, I actually really love to do the dishes. It feels, what's the word?
It's almost like therapy.
A little bit, yeah. I don't know. I like, but I also know people that do not use. What's funny is when Amber told me about the podcast, she was like, "Don't you ever use paper plates one day, like to Sabbath?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, you just use paper plates all day one day, so you don't have to do dishes. And I'm like, first of all, I don't know what you're talking about really with Sabbath. Second of all, no, I don't ever use just paper plates. But what she was talking about,
really enjoy.
I do.
Setting a table with white dishes, and
yep.
I mean, and you don't mind doing dishes,
right?
So,
but what she was more talking about was creating a rhythm in their life. Yeah. So for them, every Sunday they just use paper plates, and it's part of the rhythm of their life that everything falls in line with it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really freeing and really, really beautiful. I kind of forgot what I was going to say next.
She was asking about whether you use paper plates. You were saying that you actually like to do the dishes, but you don't have to. Or
I was thinking about what we do on Sabbath. It's really just like whatever we want to do.
Yeah. And there are Sabbaths where we like to sleep in, and there's times when the kids will come in. We'll still be, I mean, I say we like to sleep in. Rarely am I ever in bed past 8 o'clock, if ever. But if I can sleep till 7:30 or 8, that's glorious to me. So, and our kids might wake up at 6:45 or 7:15 and come in, and I tell them to get on their iPads for a little bit, which isn't normal on the Sabbath. But in order for me to enjoy my Sabbath and them to not get into destruction, we let them do it. And then when we get out of bed, we say, okay, no more iPads. So, but that's also not an expectation. They don't expect that. So they don't get out of bed early intending to get on their iPad. So
Yeah, I will say it's such a foreign concept. So I think most of our adult lives, married life, whatever, we don't married for almost 15 years. I have looked.
all of our adult lives, essentially.
Yeah, we have been married all of our lives. I have so desperately looked forward to vacation because that has been really the only time that I've been able to turn my brain off, to like stop the constant like list making and thinking, and it's like an escape. The longer we have been Sabbathing, the more it's like, well, you know, the saying Sunday's coming, but it's Sunday's coming because Jesus rose from the dead on Sunday. But Sunday's coming because Sunday is Sabbath to me now, and it's like
We look forward to it.
well, and it's a really strong boundary for us that says I have to, whatever gets done in these 6 days is what gets done, and what doesn't get done goes to the next 6 days.
Yeah.
And it's trusting that 6 days are truly better than 7. And I mean, and here's the thing, even if you're not a Christ follower, if you're not religious at all, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Even just the concept of saying, I'm going to rest for a day, what does that look like for me? And I mean, I think most of the time when we have this conversation for the first time with people, they're like, what do you mean?
No, yeah.
Because it's not
Well,
our culture.
Well, yeah, and people can't.
Like we
So
are available
I've had this
all the
conversation
time,
with multiple guys, and they'll say, well, yeah, we rest on Sundays, and it's my day to, get stuff done around the house. And so I'll lean in a little bit to it and say, well, but what if you didn't work at all around your house? Like, what if you just hung out with your family and just, played with them and went on hikes and did all that stuff? And they're like, well, no, I mean, and I've even had guys tell me that are very familiar with the concept of Sabbath, and it's almost kind of telling a lie to yourself a little bit, but they've said things like, well, no, like, I love fixing all the things around my house. And if you truly do, I'm torn on at this part, because if it's taking time away from your family, then I'm torn a little bit on whether it's truly resting or truly Sabbathing.
Well, yeah.
But I do. But if you really do love doing all the handiwork around your house, or do you set aside some time on your Sabbath to do that? That's probably okay, as long as it brings you rest.
So one of the things that we had to figure out early on is the expectation between the two of us, because what feels like rest and worship to me may feel different to him. I will go on a run on Sabbath. I will not go to the gym and work out. It's different for me. Like running can feel like worship to me. Going to the gym it feels like work, But the same is true. There's a lot of little things. Like I think one of the freedoms it's given me is, as a mom, that space and time of availability and just really being able to be present with my kids, because, and this is just honesty in life, is the reality. Now we have 4 kids, 2 businesses that we run from home, all the things. There's so many times in a day when they say, Mom, you want to come play Clue with me? Yes, baby, I do. And I do want to play Clue with them. But I'm in the middle of folding laundry. Or yes, baby, I do, but I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, or other things that have to get done. And yes, sometimes I do get to go play Clue with them 10 or 15 minutes later. But on Sunday, when we are Sabbathing, there is nothing to keep me away. Even if I'm cooking, like it's usually a low and slow kind of cook, or it's something, but there's nothing else. There's nothing else. I'm not trying to put laundry away. I'm not trying to tidy something up. I'm not texting a customer. There's nothing else. And it's literally whatever feels like rest and worship. And what's also been cool is watching my kids figure out what feels like rest and worship to them. And having those conversations with them has been so, so much fun. And just seeing them step into the process of it too, because we all had to learn together. It's not something that we ever had really, really done. So I got a couple questions. Do we go to church on Sunday? So initially we were going to go to church on Sunday because church is worship. We are also volunteers at our church. We don't volunteer on Sunday. We volunteer on Wednesday nights, but it's still kind of the thing about it for me that feels like work going to church is getting ready and having to be somewhere at a certain time.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that.
We did it the first few weeks, but we defaulted to doing it Sunday afternoon because we have 2 different Sunday afternoon services, a 4 and a 5:30, right? And we like our Sunday mornings just to be come as it is. Like we like it. Everyone sleeps until they want to. We get up, we hang out as a family. We cook a late breakfast. We go on a hike. We get some board games out. Well, all of a sudden, we usually look up and it's 2 or 3 o'clock, which is glorious. Like we are resting and we are enjoying each other's company. But we just didn't want to interrupt that morning rhythm by going to church in the morning. So then at 3, all of a sudden we're like, dang, church is in an hour. So then it's run around for 30 minutes trying to get everybody ready and get shoes and socks on everybody because we play like old school outside, no shoes, no shirt, no service kind of stuff, right? So we do all that, and then we have to work kind of to get all the kids ready.
Yeah,
and it kind of just interrupts that rhythm.
And we still have some, like our youngest 2 or 3 and 6, and so it's still
But it was just kind of interrupting that rhythm.
Yeah.
And so we were going, and we love our church, and we love the services, and our kids love going. And I mean, we're really fortunate to go to a really incredible church. But then we would get home at 5:30 or 6 from the evening service, and then the day's kind of over because it's cook dinner, eat dinner, take baths, and go to bed. So it was just kind of, it wasn't like robbing us of time, but it felt like we could move that we have a Saturday night service at our church, a couple of them. And so we just felt like we could move it to Saturday night service and then have that whole day on Sunday. And since we've been doing that, it's been amazing.
Someone's saying,
Someone yelling, Dad.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
So Lee says, what if your church doesn't have a Sunday? So here are 2 things. You don't have to Sabbath on a Sunday. So I think that's a misconception. Actually, I mean, you can Sabbath whenever you want to Sabbath. There's no rules. I know a lot of people that Sabbath on Fridays. A lot of people whose spouses are off on a different day of the week will Sabbath on those days. My friend Jerry, they're trying to figure out how do we Sabbath, and they started with a 12-hour Sabbath. They're like, we can't do 24 hours. There's too much going on. They have 4 kiddos, ages, 16, just turned 16 to 3, almost 4. So they have all the things happening. And so, but she listened to the podcast and was like, I really want to do this. And so they started with 12 hours. And it doesn't have to be the same day of the week. I would say if you can make it the same day of every week, do. Because what it does is it creates these beautiful rhythms in your life. Like you're preparing for Sabbath. You're getting ready to rest. But if you don't have church on another day and you still want to Sabbath on Sunday, go to church on Sunday. I mean, that just becomes part of your worship and you figure out how to do it well. Somebody else. Oh, Ashley said, did you have to remind each other at first not to work? Yes. Really honestly, the first time we did it, after the kids went to bed that night, I looked at him and I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I literally, the house is clean. I'm not allowed to do laundry because, there's always that, right? I'm not allowed to make lists because that feels like work to me. I'm not allowed to think about work, or I don't want to. I shouldn't say it loud. You know what I mean? And I literally did not know what to do. And so when that's the case, your recreation is probably not the best in your life evaluation. Like you're probably struggling there. So, but I've learned and I've gotten so much better at it. I've just gotten better at resting and I've gotten better at preparing for rest. And so it just has put this beautiful kind of rhythm into my life. Okay, Jamie says, Jamie says, we do go to church on Sunday morning and then have a big extended family meal, but then chillax the rest of the day. I really do want to eliminate technology for the afternoon, though. I need to talk to Paul about that. I mean, honestly, it is a gift. It's such a sweet gift. We will watch TV with the kids sometimes, or we'll watch a movie when it was cold. We all snuggled up on the couch and watched a movie one Sabbath, and that was fun. But no phones. Like it's so easy to put your phone in your hand and to mindlessly scroll. And let's be real, none of it is restful or worshipful. None of it. None of it. And so it was hard at first, and it's gotten so much easier. And I like my body and my soul yearn for Sunday now. Like I know that it's coming. I know the joy that it brings our family. And it really does feel like this beautiful reset. I mean, we eat 3 solid meals around the table on Sunday because that's what we love to do. And that's what anybody that's been to our house knows. We will feed you a lot. And it just, I don't know. It's awesome. So anyways, okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to hit on. Here's the other thing. I think some people think I can't shut my business down for 24 hours. Listen, that's a lie of our culture. It's completely ridiculous. That's not a thing if we're in the same-ish kind of business. So I think the biggest thing is if it's something you feel like you could benefit from, your family, your life, your anything, I think I would say fight for it. Figure out how to make it happen. You may not be able to do 24 hours. It may be a smaller amount of time, but figure out how to create some space in your life that's intentional, that is only meant for rest and worship. It's been a game changer for us for sure. You want to add anything? I know you didn't hear what I just said. But
I kind of did. I heard some of it. How
do you feel? This is a good question.
Ooh.
How do you feel? Do you feel like we are different?
Well, anatomically,
okay.
Here we go. So, God made a man with certain things. Put kids to bed. No. I think I'm better at resting during the week than she is.
Oh, 100%.
Allie is 100 miles an hour. If there's things to get done,
but I also
get them done.
I get resentful about your rest, though, and we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Not your rest, but
yeah,
Well,
like tonight. So this morning, I slept through my alarm. She woke me up about 20 minutes after my alarm was supposed to go off. I was like, "Babe, you got to get up." And I jump out of bed, jump in the shower, get dressed, head out the door. Did I take kids to school? No, you did. Anyway, I take off out the door. I'm gone most of the day and get home, have a couple more things to do at home. She's hollering at me from the kitchen to come to eat dinner. But I cooked. I did cook dinner tonight, but I was cooking while I was doing other things. And then, so after dinner, I haven't had half a second to really sit in quiet or do any of that. And I walk in the living room and sit on the couch and turn the news on. And she was like, "Oh, okay, you're doing it, huh?" And I was like, "Babe, I just need like 20 minutes. And she was like, "Okay." So, but usually during the day, there's a point where I have to take 20 or 30 minutes and just unplug from, working or kids or cooking or whatever it might be. She can't do that. Like she can't do something.
It's not that I can't. It's just that I see everything else that still needs to be done, and I have this list of things. The list is endless of all the things that need to happen before I can go to bed, before I can sit down, before I can.
It's not that she can't. I just have a much better grasp on the understanding of what rest can do for you. So, okay. But kind of like I know I kind of unplug and choke a child before I put him to bed. So, not really. Don't call child services or anything. But really, like there are times when I just know I need to turn my brain off. She won't do that. She will drive herself into crazy before she ever.
I'm getting better at it.
Takes a step back. You're getting way better at it. Sabbath's helped a ton.
Right.
I think she just understands so much better now how some of them she has to rest.
Isn't that crazy though? How don't do that.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
How Sabbath, how spending a full 24 hours not working and resting and not making lists and not doing all the things, right? How that has actually, it's helped me rest better during the week.
Well, today she did ask when I was cooking dinner. I think it was when I was cooking dinner. She came in and said, "Hey," and I said, "Yeah." Before we do this weird thing where there's no context even, and she'll ask to do something, or I'll ask to do something, and the other one will already know. So she said, "Hey, while you're cooking dinner," and I go, "Yeah, I think you should." She goes, "What?" I go, "You should go run." And she goes, "How did you know that's what I was going to say?" I was like, "I don't know. I guess it's this weird mind thing." But so she went and ran. What did you run, like 2.5 miles or something? So she went out, put her workout gear on, jumped on the treadmill, ran, and I know she's better when she runs. Like she said earlier, running is almost like worship for her. It's rest. It's the same as me sitting down and unplugging for 20 minutes. That's her jumping on the treadmill for 20 minutes. So we're getting more aware that not only our bodies need sleep, but our minds need rest. And so often when you do the business that we do, when you work for yourself, really probably 80% of corporate America these days, they can't turn their mind off. They're working in their mind even when they're at home. And your mind needs that completely unplugged, focus on what do they call it, your 6-foot world, the world around you that you want within 6 feet of you, your kids, your wife, all of that. And when you unplug and focus on that and unplug from the rest of the real world and all the other things that take so much of our attention and energy and emotion during the day, it's so, so, so good for you.
Yeah. Kaylee, we had homemade chicken noodle soup. I'm sorry you missed it. You hadn't gotten on a plane yesterday. You could have had some.
Yeah. It's like famous.
So what's crazy too is I think that really practicing Sabbath for 24 hours on a Sunday has also taught me how to be better at like my calming activities. Jamie said sewing is my calming activity. I really love
sewing is your calming activity.
What do you need sewn?
Sewn?
Whatever. What do you need me to sew
That's
for you?
how bad you are at sewed. You don't even know that it's sewn.
Well, I'm sorry. What do you need sewn?
How many things have I had to sew since we've been married?
I don't know. All the things.
Hundreds.
Anything needs to be sewn. You do it.
It would just be nice if I could say, "Can you do this one?" Okay. Go ahead.
Keep pushing. But I would say I love to read. And
What you say?
Read.
Read.
What did it sound like?
I thought you said greed.
I did teach English. It's
scary.
scary.
That's not.
It's been a long time. All right, Jamie, don't worry. I didn't teach your kids.
Apparently, the English language has changed since she.
I did run into one of my kids that I taught.
Yeah, we did. We went to dinner the other night.
I were at dinner the other night.
This girl comes up and goes,
she's like,
"Did your name used to be Dalkey, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah. She said, "Did your name used to be Mrs. Dalkey?" She goes, or no, she goes, "Is your name, or did your name used to be Mrs. Dalkey?" And I'm like, that's still her name. I'm Mr. Dalkey. And she was like, "You were my teacher." It was really cool. The girl's 25 now. Is that what she said? Oh my
God, yeah.
And she had her in 8th grade.
Old.
I know. You are so old.
Waylon or Lane, one of them, said, "I heard I love to breed."
That's what she said.
I like to breed.
That's what she said. True statement.
I
practice breeding.
Whatever. But I
your
like
kids
to
watching
read.
still, I apologize.
I like to read.
She likes to read. She loves to read.
I like to read. So it's funny. One of the things that we do at our marriage retreats is we have this kind of life evaluation sheet where you go through and you mark like, how would you rate your life with your significant other? How would you rate your I can't think of the other ones. Work, your health, there's like, anyways, one of them is recreation, your friends as well. And when I first started doing that evaluation, my recreation sucked. Like, I couldn't even tell you what I liked to do. And what we often find when people come in and sit down and do this life evaluation is the same thing, that they have a hard time. They don't even know what they like to do for fun or like to relax. So it's not just me, it's a lot of us. But the ironic and crazy and beautiful thing is that Sabbathing has really helped me have better recreation throughout the week. That sounds crazy.
Well, I think what happens is people don't allow themselves
Yeah.
to have a hobby because it feels selfish. Like, as men, we are created to kill something, drag it home, feed our family,
Right.
provide for our family, both physically, emotionally, mentally, all of these things, right? And anything we do for ourselves, we think is taking away from that. As women, traditionally, you guys are the emotional rocks. You are the keepers of the house. You are all of these labels. And if you are practicing self-care or self-love in any way that isn't feeding into immediately and directly feeding into the rest of the family, your husband and your children, then you're selfish. Like, you want to take an hour to go read, you want to go get a massage, you want to go to the salon, you want to do all these things. And if we do those things, there's this label as if it's selfish, when in all actuality, for me to be the best husband and protector of this family, and for her to be the best mother and emotional rock for this family, she has to have some time where she recenters herself and doing the things that she really likes to do.
So it's interesting too. I just made me think of this. One of the things that are, I keep talking about our marriage. I keep talking about our marriage because we just had one this weekend. But also, it's just fresh on my mind. One of the things that we'll often have couples say, or like write or journal out, is talk about what you need. Like, what is something that you need that you're not getting right now? And it's just conversation that we don't always have on a day-to-day basis. One of our couples, she and I were just talking the other day, and she said one of the things that we changed, a small change, after we left a retreat, was after dinner, I started taking a bath. Every night now, I go take a bath, and he bathes the kids.
In a different bathtub.
Yeah, in a different bathtub, right? And she's like, that little chunk of 20 or 30 minutes has just helped me like recenter and be like, okay, now I can help with bedtime and I can be better like getting ready for bed. And that's such a small, tiny thing. But if you don't ever have the conversation, like, how can I help you be better? How can I help you rest better? What do you need? Then it's kind of a random thing. How are you going to know?
Well, and honestly, for us during bath time, like bathing the kids time in our family, which granted 2 of our kids are old enough to do it, no problems. Our 6-year-old is getting close to that point.
Yeah.
Although
you still got to
check on him. Yeah. Our 3-year-old's still a few years away from that. But whether we're both kind of checking in on them and, washing them and drying them off and doing all of that, or one of us, it's really not that much more work. Like, I almost feel like when I know that I am the only one doing it, I'm more efficient at it than when we both are. Because when you both are, you're kind of assuming maybe the other one's taking care of it.
Right.
Same thing if she's doing it. I think she's a lot better at it than when we both are. So
yeah, that's true.
If I can say, hey, take the next 30 minutes. I know you've got some things that you want to do. Go do that. Let me do baths. It's not really any harder on me than if we both were doing it, and vice versa, I think. So that for them was a pretty easy change, where in their situation, she was stressed out from, husband leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning. Literally, she has to be on 100% as mom from 7 until drop-offs, until pickups, all the different pickups, and then until he gets home at 6 or 7 at night. And so for that little bitty shift of knowing that after dinner, when the kids are starting bath time, that she gets to totally unplug for 30 minutes and read a book in the bath or whatever, just totally set her up for the rest of the evening with her husband in a way better place than if they were both on during bath time. And so there are little shifts like that that can really have a positive effect. And honestly, for him, and I know him really well, he wanted to take as much burden as he could off of his wife. And when he gets home and his wife's been on all day, and then they both did bath time, he was still wanting, it wasn't changing his cycle of what he was wanting to do at all by taking over baths. Right. It was changed by being released for that 30 minutes.
So I think part of it is, I think when you start the Sabbath, or when you start to really intentionally rest, that you learn or are reminded. I think you're reminded of the things that you actually love to do, the things that bring you joy and bring you life and bring you freedom. So it's because you've given yourself permission and space to do them. And then when you realize how that fuels you, you start to do those things other times in the week too. And so I think it's just been a really, really good overall shift for our family. And I would say it's a significant shift, and it was hard at times, but it's also been like, of all the changes we've ever made, this one has had the biggest impact. Do you have any questions or any concerns or anything that you're like, I don't really quite understand how this will work or whatever? I'll let you type. The podcast, which we'll link at the end of this in just a minute, is in it he talks about they still have little kids, and so they'll take turns sometimes. Like one spouse may take the kids for a little bit so the other spouse can sort of have some alone time, whether it's for, reading or devotional or prayer or whatever, that, there's some kid-free time that is a little bit more restful or worshipful than, I think, chaos. What's so funny is our house sometimes is chaos. We have 4 kids, obviously. I think I said that. They're 12, 10, 6, and 3. And so all different ages. Someone's always fighting with somebody. It's just how it is. We have neighborhood kids over all the time. And on a Sunday, when we are really practicing Sabbath, things are really smooth.
Yeah.
Things are smooth, and there is a peace that surrounds our home. And part of it, I know so much of that stems from me, because I can carry, you shut your eyes, because I can carry that tension sometimes, when I get overwhelmed or when the to-do list still seems long and the day is short, that I can carry the tension that I know is palpable. But on a Sunday, I don't have any of it. There is no expectation of me. I do not have to do anything to earn anybody's love. It's just, I just get to be the best version of myself, and my kids get to do the same thing. It's just really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
And I give her a hard time. Sometimes she does where her emotion swings are a little more up and down than mine. I try to stay pretty even keel, but I also default to like being the militant parent sometimes too, which isn't always great. But yes, Sabbathing has made it to where we both have this avenue of rest, and the kids now are getting in the rhythm. They don't even ask to be outside of, if they wake up early and we're in bed, and they don't even ask for that. We just tell them, hey, you can get on your iPad for 30 minutes. But they look forward to it so much. And we live in this world of technology where kids are constantly on video games and iPads and all of that. And for them to really look forward to us to playing video games and to going on hikes and to going playing outside and doing all these things, it's been incredible. And so, and I've got to give props to her because, like I said, not that I was great at resting, but I do feel like there were times when I would unplug on a daily basis because I just felt like I needed it. She's never really thought that was an option. So for her, she was the one that sent me the podcast. She was like, you need to listen to this. I think we want to do this. And I just kind of in my head was like, you're not going to do this. Like, you can't really unplug for a whole day because you're just on all the time. And when she dove into it, even though, and I think you said it earlier when I was out of the room, but the first time was hard. The first couple times were hard. It got to a point about 1 or 2 in the afternoon where she was like, I don't know what to do. Like, there's stuff that needs to be done, and I know I'm not supposed to do it.
And
I don't know what to do.
Here's the thing about that, and that's where I know that there was something in my soul at unrest, because when that is the posture of your heart, I don't know what to do or who I am when there's not a list or a checklist or the things to say that I have done, then you are hustling for your worth. And I was not born to earn my worth, and neither were you. You were born worthy of everything that Christ did on the cross, and you'll never be able to earn it. But there are there are certain personality types that will work themselves to death thinking they have to earn love and they have to earn worthiness. And I'm just telling you right now, it's not true. And I think Sabbath is an incredible way to really change the posture of your heart back into one of the world will spin without me. The world will continue to spin without me. And that is a humbling and a beautiful gift. And I think part of that lesson I started to learn after my mastectomy, when I I literally couldn't do any of the things that I had done forever. That sort of, I mean, you could say the things that you do start to define who you are as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner. And when you can do none of the things, it's a check on your heart. Like, am I still the mom that I am and the wife that I am and all of the things? Yes, you are. But it's changing the posture of your heart and knowing that you can't earn any of it. And the world will spin when you rest. And it's really actually ridiculously prideful of us to think that we need to do all of the work all the time.
I mean, it's prideful, but I don't think most people do it out of that. I think most people do it out of a feeling of they need to take care of everybody and everything,
right,
and to be a responsible adult and all the things. So I don't think it's done out of this prideful.
Yeah.
I mean, I see what you're saying.
No,
I think
yeah.
But I think it comes from more of a place of rest equals laziness to a lot of people, and that's not it at all.
That's not a truth.
It's not being lazy.
Yeah.
It's like going to sleep at night.
Well, I will say, I think my mom is watching, and so, but she knows that this is true. My mom is, I'm pretty sure she's a 2 on the Enneagram, which is a helper. The woman never sits down, and so that's all I saw in my life, in my growing up, right? Like, and so there early on, I think when I was trying to get better at resting, not recently, but
you say she never sits down. She'll always be the last one to sit down.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
She will be the last one.
She wants to make sure everyone's taken care of and everyone's
she just has
fed
this
and
servant
everybody's
heart.
Yeah.
But when it was all that I saw, and then I didn't really know, and for one, I think part of it's her personality. And so, but our personalities are different, but it's what was modeled to me. And so it's just what I did. But I was so drained.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I realized, okay, it doesn't all have to be done. It doesn't all have to be perfect. Like, so much of the time, the things that we learn and we see are taught to us or modeled for us, even if, whoever's modeling it doesn't realize that that's what they're doing, because that's often how it is. We don't often see the things that we're teaching our kids. But I think even just a heart check with yourself is to say, the way that I work and the way that I run my day, is it because what was modeled for me? Or is it because is that really how I thrive the best?
But I also think it's not that was a bad model.
No, I don't think it was a bad model. I was just saying, like,
our kids do try to replicate what we do.
Yeah.
And there are things about our personalities, like, especially if you haven't dived into the Enneagram stuff, be careful, because when you do, it opens up your eyes to a lot of things. But I think that because we're understanding a lot more lately that everybody's created so different, and depending on, and Enneagram isn't the end all be all of all personality typing, all of that stuff, but it's for us and where we're at right now, it's done a really good job of doing a lot of just understanding, or helping us understand things a lot better. But there are things, no matter what your personality type, no matter where you default to, there are patterns that you can put in your life and in your family will help your kid, no matter what member they are. Maybe I don't breathe when I talk. And this is just something for us that we truly believe deep down with everything in us, that if you do model this as a family in some way, shape, or form, whatever day of the week it is, And it doesn't have to be 24 hours. I don't know if she said that, but in the podcast it talks about if it's a 6-hour chunk somewhere where everybody in your circle, your family, understands that this is the time that we're just resting. We're just unplugging. We're not going to be on electronics. We're not going to call our friends. We're not going to do any of that. It's just for us. That's a great place to start. I saw somebody post, it's not up there now, but I saw somebody post something about my husband's in the oil field. He's on call all the time. We don't have a day that we can Sabbath. You know what? I don't think it has to be patterned to be every day, the same day every week. When you get his weekly schedule, when he's on call, he probably has a pretty good feel for when he's going to be needed, when he's not. If there's a certain day that y'all can write down and tentatively say, this day from this date or from this time to this time, if we can sit down and, not worry about anything else. Now, granted, he's on call, so his phone has to be on. Doesn't have to be in front of him, but it has to be somewhere around. And then if something interrupts that, push it to the next day or the next day. I think that pattern would be really good for your family. Oh, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So there's a couple things I want to say. Yeah. So, but the other thing is, even when he's in the oil field and he's not there and you're still playing, you're not playing mom, you are mom, you know what I mean? But when you're still mom, you can still Sabbath, even if you have littles. And because there's so much more work that we do on a day-to-day basis that doesn't involve parenting. I mean, everything from laundry to, it could be dishes. It can be, whatever you can cut out that feels like work to you, cut it out. Say for these 24 hours, I'm not doing that. I'm not checking my phone. I'm not doing 3 loads of laundry. I'm not gonna pick up, because if that feels like work to you, don't do it. But find ways to get rest.
Okay. So, first of all, Lee, you said you're an Oklahoma transplant to Texas. Where in Oklahoma? Because I knew some Despains from Yukon. Any relation? Random side subject. ADD. Shiny.
But I think what you have to do is you have to set it.
Well, this is what I was going to say.
Regardless of when he's.
So obviously, because you never know when it's going to happen, and this might be totally against this whole point, so roll with me here. But what I was going to say is, what if you guys had a more spur of the moment Sabbath? So on a day when he's not getting a call, and even if you took a ledger of it, but you said, hey, babe, let's Sabbath. It might be an hour, it might be 6. Let's figure it out. And if 2 hours in, he gets a call to leave, you stop the time clock and you say, okay, we Sabbath for 2 hours. We really didn't do anything in that 2 hours. And then while he's going to work, you can then pick it back up, figure out what you need to do, and then the next day or the next day, start the clock again and say, okay, we're Sabbathing again. Now, this is obviously something you're going to have to talk with him. Y'all are going to have to be more creative than most people when it comes to this time. But it would be so good if you got in a rhythm of being able to say, let's Sabbath. And his response might be, well, I've got these 30 minutes worth of things to do. And you say, okay, do that, and then we're going to start it. And you might say the same thing. I've got 30 minutes worth of stuff, so do that. But honestly, even if it was 4 or 5 or 6 hours a week where you just said, hey, let's Sabbath, and you said, let's do it. You put away the electronics. You got the board game out. You hung out with the kids. The trick for us, because we were able to unplug for the whole day, it took a couple of times to get our mindset in not wanting to grab our phones or check this or check that or check messages or email or whatever it was.
Within the 24-hour period, like we start. So there are a lot of people that start on a Friday night and go to a Saturday night. That is pretty traditional, like Sabbath, true Sabbath, Friday night to Saturday night. But I know for me, like I think if we, I don't know, I think if we did it started on Friday night, I'd have a hard time getting into the Friday night of it,
Maybe.
Because
I don't know if you would now.
Yeah, now I'm better at it, but.
She's a lot better now at being able to switch on and off. Like we've even talked about, so we've been doing these marriage retreats. They don't end until Sunday afternoon usually. We've even talked about, and here's the thing. She said we didn't Sabbath this week. Yesterday we had 2 people that we consider really good friends here for the end of the marriage retreat on Sunday, and they were here they didn't fly out till 8 something. But we really had a really good day yesterday. I mean, it was kind of a hard day because it was mentally, we were having a lot of conversation, but we didn't check our phones. We weren't on Facebook. We weren't working
It's true.
what we consider work.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it actually was a pretty good day. Like today, I don't
agree.
feel defeated.
Yeah.
Because we didn't rest. I feel like it was rest. Like it was.
Yeah. But if it had been 3 couples, we usually do 3 couples. If it had been 3 couples, it would have been different.
It would have been different for sure.
Yeah.
But I really today when Allie said, she said, let's move our Sabbath to Monday, and I was on board. I did have some Monday morning. I had some stuff I had to do today, but my goal was to Sabbath today a little bit. But really, I felt really good today. Yesterday was a really good day. So even in the rhythm of doing it, I almost feel like Sunday has become that, even when it doesn't look the same every time.
Yeah, that is true. I would say that
Because we stayed in our pajamas. We still stayed in our pajamas until we had to go to church yesterday morning, which was kind of early
we
because
went early because we got to baptize Ashley.
she got to
I
baptize
Ashley.
somebody yesterday. It was awesome.
Ashley's watching.
Is she watching? Hi, Ashley.
Casey, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of you. So she said, so they practice Sabbath. They start Friday night and they start with a big feast and they go till Saturday night. But she said that's how it started, but it's pushed into all weekend and she loves it. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
That's incredible.
But it's kind of that same concept of boundaries, right? Like when you put business hours on your business, and I have found this to be true, and there were so many people like, you guys are crazy. Whatever, you didn't say we're crazy. When you put business hours on your business, it makes you more effective and more efficient. It makes you work smarter, not harder. You don't have endless amounts of time, and the work that you do is better. And it's the same thing with the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a boundary. It's a line that says we don't cross here. And because of that, everything has to be more intentional, and everything is a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I keep saying we've like fallen into this rhythm, and we have. Because of Sabbath, I kind of had to, for years and years, Sunday was my planning day. Sunday was the day I figured out what I was doing for the rest of the week. And I don't do that anymore because it feels like work to me. And so it's either that gets done Saturday night or it gets done Monday morning. But Monday has kind of become my home day. Now I know, and what it's kind of forced me into is these like stacking of habits. Monday, I water all the plants in the house and I do all of the laundry on Monday. And I don't really dread it because I know I'm doing the laundry. And I meal plan for the week and I order all our groceries. And I mean, it's like, but all of that is because of this rhythm of Sabbath that I can't do it on Sunday. But now I'm going to do it on Monday and I'm going to plan my week. I'm going to be intentional. And the boundary actually makes everything grow bigger. So I hope that makes sense. Anyways, do you have anything else you want to add?
No.
I think that was the most of the point. So I will post the link to the podcast that we first listened to initially. If you get Nancy waiting for me to post it, it's an Annie Downs That Sounds Fun podcast.
We're about to post it right now.
January
So.
2017, but I'll post it in just 1 second. So
Thanks guys for hanging out with us for a little bit.
yeah. Thanks a lot. And I hope that, and I would love if this is something you kind of press into and you try, I want to know about it. Like, shoot me a message, let me know. I want to hear. It's hard at first, but I would say figure out how to make it happen and stick to it and try to keep getting a little bit better each time.
For sure.
It's so worth it. So anyways.
Love you guys.
Talk to you later.